Yo, this is crazy. Like, it was, that phone booth scene was crazy. It's a kitchen scene in here that's wild. Hey everyone, thank you so much for tuning in. Okay, so you are watching Watch This, where I discuss film, TV reviews, and screenwriting tips for beginning writers. I haven't been on this channel in a little minute. I've been posting a few of my reviews on my other channel, Tiffany. Go check that out. I have decided that I'm just going to leave all of my reviews and everything on this channel. So moving forward, everything will be up on this channel, and I think I am going to try to incorporate some mukbangs, like a dinner and a movie type of tease with this. So we will see. But for this video, I want to talk about Black Phone 2. I was able to watch the film, and yeah, I have like a few thoughts. So if you want to know my opinion, my thoughts, keep watching. First and foremost, Black Phone, I also did a review on this film as well. Please check it out. I'll try to tag it if I can, which I really enjoyed that film. It was a great introduction to the franchise, and as you can see now, we have a sequel, which I don't know the span of the years. I think it might have been 3 years. I think it's the 3-year difference from the time that the original setting of the film occurred. So now we have Finney and Gwen. They're kind of all grown up a little bit, and you instantly see a change in Finney. Like, he is really affected by the incident that happened with the grabber abducting him and everything that he went through. And then we also have Gwen, who's a little older, and I would say mostly this film focused a bit more on her and her journey. I will say there, first of all, let me just say this, it's not going to be really spoilers, but I am going to mention a few details because that's the only way that I can like kind of prove my point or like really express how I feel about the scenario of everything that's going on. But first and foremost, let me just say this film was a bit more gory. If you do not like gore, you do not like blood, you don't want to see a head get chopped off, you don't want to see any of that, you might want to like go into this just anticipating like you will see this. Like, there was a scene, it's not really a, I'm just gonna say this, there's a scene where we actually see somebody's intestines be cut out. So, and I was like, oh, okay, this is what we're doing. So this film is gory. That's first and foremost. I want to say that this film also focuses a lot, like I said, on Gwen's journey, and there's a lot of internal conflict, which I loved. I would say like this film focuses more on the supernatural element, because of course we know that the grabber has died, like he was murdered in the film, the first film. So now we're dealing with a supernatural element of the grabber. And then even with Gwen, like it really focuses a lot on her and her ability, which we learned in the first film was with her dreams and her surrealism of being able to have the gift of seeing things before they occur, getting little clues about things, which we learn how she got that gift, and I'm not gonna say how, but yeah, I feel like there was a lot of internal conflict in this film, a lot of supernatural elements, surrealism. I love, there were several dream sequences in this film because we focused a lot more on Gwen. I would say like Finney had a role in this film, but mostly this film focused on Gwen. I would say like this was her, and then also we learn why she is the focal point, which I like that aspect as well. But there was a lot of internal conflict in this film, which I really felt like it showed the character development of like how we saw Finney in the first film versus how we see Finney now. How we saw Gwen in the first film, how we see Gwen now, and then how we see their father in the first film, and how he's a bit different in this film. Finney is going through a lot, and we also learn that he also has a gift in this film. Um, and I was like caught off guard when I like the first introduction to him acknowledging and him also suppressing, not wanting to acknowledge the gift that he has. But yeah, like internal conflict was very big in this film, which we also have, of course. It's really good to have an internal conflict and an external conflict so that you can see the character evolve throughout the film or the series. And we saw that, and we saw how Finney was suppressing his issues and everything he's going through with weed. And then also I would even say like the things that Gwen was going through, like she was like, am I going crazy? And I was like, girl, I can understand. Like she was going through a lot. And I will say like the stuff that she was going through and she was seeing, that is enough to make somebody go crazy. We also learned about something from the past, and I'm gonna say this, in the beginning of the film I was like kind of confused because they start with a flashback, and I was confused because I was like, wait, I thought this occurred in the 80s, but we started off with a flashback in the 50s. And I loved how they brought it back to full circle of us understanding why we started there. It was so good in that aspect. I will say, yeah, like Finney had more of a backseat role. Gwen had more of a more front seat role. We got a chance to meet a few new characters. We met Mustang, which I'm not even gonna tell you how we met them. We met Mustang, which I loved Mustang, and I also Armando, I believe his name was. We also met Armando, and then we met Barbara and Kenneth. Child, Barbara and Kenneth, they were a mess. And then also like the one thing that I really loved about Gwen in the first one was like her mouth. Like she has a sassy attitude, and she displayed that in this film as well. And we also got introduced to Ernesto, I believe his name is. Yes, Ernesto, which was Robin's little brother. If you remember who Robin was in the first one, that was Finney's best friend who helped him in a fight. If you remember, he was like the tough guy, tough kid. He was such a sweet, rough guy. He actually really helped him when he was abducted by the grabber. He kind of gave him like clues from like how to escape, because he wasn't able to escape, and it was just so good. I'm not gonna lie, like there's a moment at the end, it was so emotional, like I cried. I'm not even gonna hold you, like I cried because it was like, it was such a, it was, I was like, oh my god, this is like really emotional. Like a little tear came down, a little thug tear came down. But it was just like, and I'm gonna say this is the theme and the message that I got out of this film. Suppressing your gift because of being afraid of understanding what it is. And this could be anything. This can be like just any gift that you have. I think that's the most damage that you could do to yourself internally. That was something that I noticed in the film, that a lot of people around Gwen wanted her to suppress her gift, especially her father, because it reminded him of something. It reminded him of her mother, his wife, and that was just only, suppressing this does not help anything. And that was another thing of like just understanding like sometimes, even if it makes people uncomfortable, you got to like pull through with your gifts, try to learn more about it so that you can really use your gift for the highest and greatest good of your life. And I know that's like, it's so big and like it's so broad. I'm not sharing too much about like what we know what her gift is, but there's a lot of other elements with that. Even with Finney, him not wanting to acknowledge things and he's suppressing it with me, and even their father, how he was coping with the grief of losing his wife and feeling guilty over it with alcohol. That was a great message, like and they talked about this in this film, and that's why I really feel like there was a lot of great internal conflict that they showcased, but then also they had like a family discussion about it. Let's talk about the grammar. Girl, it was elements like this was, I don't want to say it was scary. I don't think it was scary, but it was like very like like eerie in the sense of like some of the supernatural stuff that the grabber was doing. I was like, it was almost like the exorcism, like the exorcist. It was like crazy, and to the point where like I love the surrealism of it, like to the point where like Gwen would be asleep and the things that she were able to see in her dreams, like it was so much to the point where nobody could wake her and she was sleepwalking. That's how like real it was. And to the point where things that were happening in her dream, we would physically see manifest in reality. Like let's say if somebody burnt her or something like that, while she sleep and they're trying to wake her up, we would see like a burn mark on her arm in true form. So it was like very much surrealism, supernatural, like that element of like, yo, this is crazy. Like it was, that phone booth scene was crazy. It's a kitchen scene in here that's wild. And I would have to say, like, I really enjoyed this film. I think I don't really have too many negatives. The only negative thing at first I was like, what is going on in the beginning with the flashback, because it was just like very much like random, and then we kind of learned, of course, when we started to get into the story, we figured it out. So, and it had a full circle moment and it all made sense. I will say I do, if 1/2, I really love 1, just because it was like, you know, Finney having to escape from this. It was like kind of straight to the point, where this is like we're just building up to the point of like fixing the problems that we have had from that incident, and even like past trauma. So it's not really anything in a sense of like they had to escape anything, but what they did have to do was help other people. That's what I would say. They had to help other people in order for this to stop. So it wasn't, I would say the stakes wasn't as high, because it's like, the stakes wasn't as high, but of course this is something that you want to do. And then Armando, that was one of his missions, that he promised that he would help these people, and that's all I'm gonna say. But yeah, like overall, I would say I definitely would go say check this film out. I actually will watch this film in the house. I don't know, it was a good film, but I could have watched it at home. I'm not gonna lie. Like, but it was a really good film. It was a really good film. It was good. It was good. But yeah, that's where I'm at with how I felt about the film. Yeah, I really love the internal conflict. I love the surrealism, supernatural element, and there was a very heartfelt, warm moment at the end. And then we also learned some things about Gwen and Finney's mother in this film that was very interesting. And we learned more about the grabber. We learned some other things that occurred. Yeah. But yeah, that concludes this video. Thank you so much for watching. Please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And I will catch you on the next one.